As the cameras were rolling and the live audience was ecstatic, Rasheeda started crying. She leaned forward with glassy eyes and said something no one had expected. "Yung Joc locked me in that hotel room." The segment had been nothing more than introductions and smiles. For a few hours. The studio fell hushed in shock as she described how a simple promotional trip turned into a nightmare. Fans were both appalled and thrilled as rumors spread on social media. Was his close friend really captivated by this golden child of Atlanta's hip-hop culture? Rumors had circulated that they were at odds, but no one anticipated things would go this bad. As the host struggled, the audience held their breath, with many clutching their phones to capture every second. As Rasheeda explained how Yoc's demands caused her voice to waver, grew more and more oppressive, and how she felt forced to leave but found that all the doors were shut. Despite Yung Joc's side's denials and accusations that it was fake news, the evidence, her trembling hands and broken wrists, painted a darker picture. Now everyone wanted to know if Joc had really made a friend a prisoner, and what impact might this knowledge have on Rasheeda's personal safety, family, and marriage? Keep your seatbelt on because this story is about to get even more explosive. Like every other day, it started in Atlanta, another hip-hop and love advertising tour. Rasheeda arrived at the downtown hotel under bright studio lights, smiling for the cameras and waving to fans shouting her name. Always the jovial host, Joc gave her a hug. As he escorted her through the lobby, he said, "You look fantastic." The audience cheered as they captured laughter and lighthearted banter for upcoming episodes. But there was a simmering tension in the background. None could have imagined that by nightfall, friendship would lead to accusations and tears of laughter, shattering Atlanta's hip-hop scene to its core. As the day's filming came to a close, JoJo suggested that they continue their conversation in his suite. Rasheeda stopped and glanced about at her crew. "It's cool," JoJo smiled and comforted. "Just a little talk about the scenarios for tomorrow." Rasheeda trusted Joc like a longtime friend and followed him into the lift. The door clicked behind them, the lights went out, and before Joc's expression altered and his eyes clouded as he set down the drinks. The scene was familiar and laid back. JoJo motioned for her to sit on the plush couch as he poured 2 glasses of expensive scotch. "We need to discuss something, Rasheeda." "By ourselves," he added softly. "Is everything okay?" She blinked in confusion. Joc didn't answer. Instead, he stretched for her hand and spoke in a strained tone. "Joc, my room is down the hall. You have to stay here tonight. It's just you and me." Rasheeda laughed awkwardly and turned to face the door. "It's becoming late, so I better return." Joc's smile faded. Rasheeda's expression changed to one of panic. "You won't be leaving. What are you saying?" she asked in a firm but composed voice. Joc abruptly stood up, approached the door, and snapped the lock. The boom echoed like a gunshot in the quiet suite. Rasheeda rose from the couch and said, "Joc, unlock the door now." Her leather boots clicked on the marble floor as she approached. Joc was standing close to the door, arms folded. "You ought to unwind. We have to work things out. You cannot just leave." Rasheeda felt her heart pounding. "Why are you doing this? You're frightening me." JoJo's voice trailed off with emotion. "You have been ignoring me and making judgments without seeking my opinion since you think you are the queen of everything." Rasheeda shook her head, panic replacing her confusion. "I'm your friend. I'm here to shoot, not for whatever this is." The Joker moved nearer, clearly anxious. "Friends never abandon each other. Not when I most need you." His hand hovered near the door handle as if daring her to move. Rasheeda's mind was racing as JoJo spoke. She had known Joc for years, and he had always been watchful, maybe too cautious, but never controlling. Now that she was confined to his suite, she was afraid. Her phone was on the sofa table just out of reach, and she looked it desperately. "Please, unlock the door," she said again, trying to sound calm, and the Joc's face twisted. "No, until I say so, you won't leave." Returning to the couch, he gestured for Rasheeda to sit down. The suite was oddly quiet except for the faint hum of the air conditioner. "Recently, I've been feeling hurt," JoJo said softly. She sat anxiously and mentally, calculated ways to escape. The tightly drawn blackout drapes behind her prevented any potential rescue through the window. "You've been developing new alliances and spending time with Kirk while neglecting me." I thought you would be here indefinitely. Rasheeda choked, his heart racing at the sudden acknowledgement of his fears. I've always supported you, Joc, and I treasure our friendship. But everything in life changes, including family and work. Joc's eyes sparkled with unshed tears. I don't want to change without you. Rasheeda's compassion wavered due to fear. I care about you, but I can't stay attached to you forever. Joc's expression hardened. Not tonight. You're still here tonight. He reached for her hand again, and Rasheeda flinched. Hours passed like a nightmare. Joc didn't answer the door when Rasheeda tried to call for help. He continued on talking every time she tried to shift the subject so she could go, but she was met with a growing sense of desperation. Her voice was hardly audible above a whisper as she pleaded, "Please, I must return to my room." Joc's voice softened as he sat next to her. I really don't want you gone. I cherish you. Despite feeling stranded, Rasheeda's heart yearned for the friend she once knew. The helplessness pushing down on her chest made it hard to breathe. Meanwhile, the crew learned that Rasheeda had not come back. Her aide, Kelly, knocked on the flat door and called her name. No answer. Panic broke out. Where's Rasheeda? She asked Jojo, who smiled and opened the door softly. Oh, she's well. All I'm doing is talking to her. Kelsey furrowed her brow. The director wants the evening to come to a close. She was supposed to go to her room an hour ago. The Joker's grin faltered. I asked if she could remain a bit longer. She'll be gone soon. Kelsey pursed her lips uneasily. She has appointments at 8, so let her know I'm waiting. Jojo nodded and gently shut the door, leaving Kelsey feeling down. Rasheeda squeezed against the far wall inside. The situation weighed heavy on her, and tears started to fill up in her cheeks. How did it come to this? She said to herself. I'm afraid of being forgotten, Joker murmured softly, his voice shaking, as he paced and stroked his hair. In a small voice, Rasheeda said, Joc, you will always be in my memory. Just let me go. Joker stopped and stared intently. Frustrated and terrified, she shook her head and said, Not until you say you'll listen to me. I can't promise that. I need to take a breath. Joc's excitement wavered as daybreak approached, and Rasheeda snatched her phone from the table and sprinted for it. Jojo lunged, but her quick thinking allowed her to dial Kelly's number. Kelsey, please help me, she muttered, her voice trembling. When Joc surged again, the phone clattered off the table and fell under the couch, and Rasheeda's anxiety grew. No, she mouthed as she fumbled for it, and Joc grabbed her wrist and held her. Stop, he pleaded, his eyes watering. When Kelsey's phone rang backstage, her name came up on her caller ID, and she answered, panting. Kelsey's words trailed off as Rasheeda yelled, Kelsey, please assist me. Where are you? I'll give the staff a call. Rasheeda whispered that Joc had bolted the door. Kelsey's gaze widened. Hold on. I'm en route. The feed cut as Kelly rushed to security, and team members gathered to call hotel staff. Jojo attempted to hold Rasheeda in the suite while she struggled to leave. The doorknob jiggled when security came and pounded urgently. Joc's face collapsed in regret and desperation. It was, Don't open, Rasheeda, he shouted. The door unlocked, and there was a click. The Joc was pulled back by security personnel who entered. With tears running down her cheeks and a hoarse voice, Rasheeda stumbled out and hurried into Kelsey's arms. Her shoulders trembling, her sobbing, and her wrist bruising from the Joc's overly firm hold was suddenly caught on cameras that weren't meant to be there. As the crew lifted Rasheeda to safety, Joc stood alone in the suite, shoulders slumped, regretting and crying. Behind him, security stood and gave him a harsh look. We need to talk, one of the guards murmured quietly, and the Joc agreed and lowered his head. Supporters in the foyer screamed as Rasheeda came out, some in fear and others in anger. Reporters shouted questions. Are you okay, Rasheeda? Was Joc really able to shut you in? She clasped her fingers to her mouth, her voice scratchy. She said, I'm okay now, despite the dread in her eyes. Joc had me cooped up in that room for hours. The audience went quiet, with one whispering, "Fans are shocked," and another echoing, "Emotions ran high." The grief on Rasheeda's face was captured on camera as she ran to her waiting automobile. Team members remarked, "This is going to ruin him," as the athlete sat backstage, his head in his hands, strapped to a chair by security. Security squeezed his fists and muttered, "I love her. I never meant..." But JoJo's voice was barely heard. "We'll handle it from here," said one of the guards. When Rasheeda reached her home, LaShonda, the Joc's wife, rushed to embrace her, and tears streamed down her face as the two ladies embraced. "Are you okay?" LaShonda asked in a trembling voice. Rasheeda shuddered and choked back her words. It was retribution. He felt duped and lost control. LaShonda's eyes widened. She reached for her phone. "I'm calling the kids' school. They have to know." Inside the house, the children looked up from their homework. Their eyes grew wide. "Are you okay, Mommy?" they inquired. Rasheeda knelt down to give them a hug while forcing a trembling grin. Her voice wavered as she said, "I'm okay, baby. Just a long evening." The action switched to social media feeds ablaze with indignation as part 1 came to an end. What did Joc do? Another fan commented on Twitter saying, "It's unbelievable that Rasheeda was trapped." In a rush to acquire answers from the Joc's camp, tabloids praised him as mentally stressed, while others insisted that he face consequences. As the virtual world erupted, lines were drawn between supporters and critics, and unspoken voices speculated about Kirk's possible reaction to Rasheeda's wedding. Nevertheless, it was undeniable that the tragedy had exposed deep divisions within hip-hop culture, as well as among friends and families, and that Rasheeda's tear-streaked face, a symbol of strength and weakness, appeared in television clips as the light of dawn peeked through the windows. With JoJo's silence answering questions and Rasheeda's suffering making headlines, the stage was set for a confrontation that would forever change relationships and usher in part 2, where more profound repercussions and unspoken realities would emerge. She stayed in the living room, wrapped in a blanket, reliving the nightmare while the kids were at school, and every time she closed her eyes, she heard her own desperate calls for help and saw the desperate look on JoJo's face as he ran out the door. The morning after the hotel incident, Rasheeda's house felt strangely empty, her phone silent next to her on the couch, but JoJo's calls and messages kept coming in. Joc's wife, Rasheeda, appeared out of the blue, looking exhausted and attracted, and she cautiously entered, holding her phone to her ear. "Rasheeda," she replied softly, "I just had a conversation with security. Until more research is done, jockeys are being released, but they said I needed to visit you first." LaShonda's eyes met Rasheeda's with a bittersweet mix of betrayal and relief. "You knew?" she asked quietly. LaShonda drew them closer. "He told me late yesterday night, and he begged me not to tell. I thought I could fix things, but I later realized I didn't know what had happened." With hesitation, she extended her hand and asked, "Are you okay?" Rasheeda pulled away, tears in her eyes. "I'm not okay, LaShonda. He trapped me for hours." "How? Can I get past that?" LaShonda shook her head and her voice broke. Rasheeda's lip quivered as she said, "I'm not sure, but I'm accessible to you. You should have been there sooner. Your husband, my friend. I thought we were helping each other out." Rasheeda stayed back, careful not to crowd Rasheeda, while Hasia, her sister, rushed in with her phone. She held out her phone and looked through a feed of hashtags such as Joc8, @Lockjaw, and Rasheeda Hurt, asking if she had seen these tweets. "Rasheeda, dear." The supporters are losing their minds. There was a lot of emotion last night. Some people think Joc should be permanently canceled. Rasheeda grabbed the phone and started looking through it. "They're saying that I'm lying and that I'm just creating drama to get more views." Hasia put an arm over her. "Avoid focusing on them. We are familiar with you. You wouldn't fabricate this." Rasheeda let out a breath. "All I need is time." After Joc was freed from security detention, there was a lot of activity. When he got into his car outside the motel, his face was pale and haunted, and LaShonda sat next to him with pained eyes and a hand on his leg. "Joc, what the devil happened?" she asked, her voice trembling. Joc focused on the road with his jaw clenched. "I'm sorry, LaShonda. I went insane." Rasheeda left me feeling unappreciated and abandoned since she was always away, shooting and making decisions without consulting me. LaShonda bit her lip as she sobbed, but securing her in a room? You hurt her. Jojo's voice broke. I get it. I cannot take back what I have done. I was selfish. I made it about me. We need a strategy. The media is buzzing. My family and your family deserve answers. The jock's shoulders slumped. I'll admit that there was a miscommunication, she said, as she turned in the seat to face him. We will apologize. Make a privacy request. LaShonda's eyes narrowed. That won't be sufficient. People want to know why you were feeling so depressed. Rasheeda has been traumatized. How can you prove you're not a monster now that she's safe? Joker moaned and scratched his temples. I'm not sure. Kirk Frost got a call from a mutual producer across town. The host's soothing voice over the speakerphone interrupted Kirk's morning routine. We need your statement, Kirk. We're doing a follow-up segment on yesterday night's shocking news. Kirk closed his eyes and ran a hand through his hair. The host's voice was demanding. Since you are Rasheeda's husband, fans are looking to you, Kirk. There is nothing I can say. This isn't my story. Kirk stared at his son playing with a toy car and exhaled. They want to know if you agree with her or not. Tell them. We'll need more information. Questions about how this affects your family. The host shot back, adding, tell them that I fully support her. I'm available for everything she needs. Kirk's shoulders slumped. Just tell them I adore her and I'm family. Kirk hung up the phone while seated at his kitchen table, holding a photo of himself and Rasheeda on their wedding day. The bride's glowing face appeared to be a distant memory. I love you. Give me a call when you can, he texted Rasheeda. He put down his phone and closed his eyes. He whispered, how can I help her recover? You need a professional, someone to talk to. Meanwhile, Hatsia organized her sister's calendar back at Rasheeda's house, noting that she had therapy at 4 and a doctor's appointment at 2. I feel shattered, Rasheeda said, nodding and crying a little. Hatsia fluffed up the cushion. You're getting better and you're not hurt, but we need to keep busy and not linger. Breathing out, Rasheeda said, all fine. At 2 o'clock, Rasheeda sat in a doctor's office, feeling cold against the white walls. Dr. Jenkins, the physician, entered with a clipboard. I acknowledge that last night was challenging. Rasheeda moved, pulling her sleeve down to hide a small bruise on her wrist. What body state are you in? I'm hurt. But what endures is the panic. Dr. Jenkins nodded after seeing the bruising. I'm also suggesting relaxation and a short course of anti-anxiety medicine. We can record this for any court case. Rasheeda exhaled. Thank you. Will I be able to handle my next day of filming? Dr. Jenkins considered it. Only when you're ready. However, don't hurry. Your mental health is really important. With a hushed voice, Rasheeda nodded. I'll try it out. At 4 o'clock, Rasheeda showed up for therapy. She sank into the chair across from Dr. Harris and began by telling them about yesterday night. Her voice shook as she said, he made me feel trapped. I kept wondering how a friend could become a prisoner. As he listened, Dr. Harris nodded. Jojo's actions are wrong. Friendship can become hazy when boundaries are crossed. But let's focus on your response, your trauma, your recovery. Rasheeda wiped her eyes. I feel ashamed and guilty. I kept reliving it over and over again, thinking if there was anything I could have done differently. Dr. Harris inclined closer. You're not at fault. You trusted him. A betrayal of trust occurred. An essential part of recovery is letting that anger out, channeling it instead of storing it as poison. Rasheeda's shoulders slumped. Doctor guided a breathing exercise. I feel so weak, but I want to be strong for my kids. Harris. Acknowledge the pain, then release it piece by piece. Rasheeda closed her eyes, inhaled deeply, and exhaled slowly. Later that evening, a group assembled at Joc and Rashanda's home. Both families were present. Kirk and their children stayed for dinner. Yandy and Mendices sent an email apologizing, and other cast members watched a live video apology from Joc. On the screen was Jojo, looking pale, teary-eyed, and shaking. I truly apologize. I'll face the consequences and do everything in my power to make things right. Rasheeda is family, not just a friend. I lost my composure and betrayed her confidence. Last night. Rasheeda was sitting in the dining room with Kirk's arm wrapped around her when the live feed ended, and comments like, "Fans are shocked." I never expected Joc to lie. Emotions ran high as Joc apologized, and the family was left. Divided were posted right away. He stopped, fighting back tears. We want to uphold our morals, our families and her, so I'm looking for professional assistance. Though they felt bad, their children did not really comprehend the situation, so they ate in silence. Kirk looked for her hand under the table. "I'm here, baby," she said softly, holding his hand. "I don't know where we're going." Kirk exhaled deeply. The children smiled at them with innocent optimism, and Rasheeda nodded. Yandy wrung her phone and watched. The live apologies from across town, her heart aching from regret at not being able to protect her friend. "I forgive you, but it will take time," she texted Joc, to which Joker replied with a single heart emoji. Yandy sighed and buried her face in a pillow while Cole Stokes, an old friend of Rasheeda's, watched the live apology on TV from his apartment. Feeling sorry for Joc's demise, he called a friend and asked, "Have you seen Joc's video?" He admitted it. "This is going to ruin his career." The friend nodded. "You are eliminated if you make even one mistake." Reality television is merciless. With his mind racing with possible consequences, Cole hung up. With their cameras focused on the door, news crews gathered outside Joc's residence. Reporters shouted questions like, "Joc, why? You did it, but why?" The door remained closed and no response was received. Videos of Rasheeda crying, the Joc's embarrassment, and the online fan division were played repeatedly, and headlines from gossip blogs said things like, "Best friend locks Rasheeda in for trauma," "Joc's treachery rattles love and hip-hop," and "Can Joc's career survive?" Back at her house, Hatsia made dinner for Rasheeda and Kirk's family. The air was filled with the pleasant aroma of macaroni and cheese. "Mommy, I drew a happy picture of us today," said the oldest child as the other kids ran in with their school stories. Rasheeda felt her heart warm in spite of the anguish. She hugged her children. "Thank you, my love. Is Daddy okay?" the child said. Rasheeda kissed his forehead. "He's getting help. Everything will be fine." Kirk gave a gentle nod. That night, Rasheeda recorded a little video statement on her phone saying, "We'll always keep you safe." I stated, "I want to thank everyone who has shown love and concern in a firm yet sincere tone. Even though last night was terrifying, your kind remarks have made me feel better. I'm focusing on my children and family. Please be mindful of our privacy as we resolve this." After sharing it with her loved ones, she sobbed till her pillow was completely saturated and fell onto her bed. As midnight approached, Joc sat alone in his dreary living room. The long shadows cast by the furnishings mirrored his regret. Lashonda arrived with 2 cups of water. She handed one to him. Joc clutched the glass and spoke loudly, but she whispered gently, "We'll need to be strong for Rasheeda. I lied to her. I don't deserve her forgiveness." Lashonda put her hand on his shoulder. "It takes time to forgive. She must improve because she cares for you." Jojo wept and nodded. "I'll wait." In the last moments of episode 2, there were whispers all over social media. Would Joc be arrested? When is Rasheeda going to resume shooting? Is love and hip-hop doomed? The bewilderment was reflected in each question. One truth, though, stood out. The incident had revealed unaddressed flaws in families and friendships, setting the stage for part 3, when the need for healing, the danger of legal action, and further in-depth investigations would push everyone to their breaking point. When the sun rose over Atlanta, the tension from the hotel incident had not diminished. Sitting at her kitchen table, Rasheeda was sipping coffee that had gone cold several hours earlier. She raked her hair as her heart raced at every headline. Atlanta hip-hop star's nightmare. Fans split over Rasheeda's claims. And Yung Joc, under fire. Every news alert on her phone felt like a kick to the belly. Kirk hovered nearby, wiping the sleep from his eyes. He walked up to the chair opposite her. "Did you sleep at all?" he asked gently. Rasheeda exhaled. "A bit," she whispered. although she was watching everything. What am I supposed to make of it? Kirk took her hand and squeezed it. Step by step, I'll take care of whatever comes up next. As all of this was happening, Joc's phone was flooded with messages from lawyers urging him to prepare for potential criminal charges, producers requesting statements, and fans attacking him. "I understand, Detective Walker," he said, pacing his living room with his phone near to his ear. "I truly didn't mean to hurt her, though." The detective's voice broke. "Sir, we need to review the statements and surveillance footage. It could be deemed false imprisonment to remain in someone's chamber without their consent. We'll talk." Joker slumped into the couch and rested his head in his hands. LaShonda entered, her face displaying concern. "What were they saying?" She asked softly. Joc closed his eyes and said, "They're investigating. They might bring charges, but I'm not sure." LaShonda sank beside him. Joker nodded, his voice cracking. "We'll face it together. I really apologize." Later that morning, Kirk and Rasheeda reached the station. In the lobby, reporters began setting up cameras. A bailiff motioned for them to approach. Detective Walker ushered them in. "Mrs., we need your statement, Frost. Thank you for coming." Rasheeda bowed and spoke steadily. "I was in Joc's suite. I was terrified when he locked me up for hours and wouldn't let me go." Kirk added, "We'll watch the video. We have bruises and a record from a neighbor who heard her screams." Investigator Walker scribbled notes. Joc reluctantly stepped forward, saying, "You'll have to give your side, Mr. Walker." His eyes met Rasheeda's, and for a minute, feelings of embarrassment and sadness swirled. "I lost control." He hung his head and said, "I'm ready to face the repercussions." Detective Walker glanced between the two. "We'll call you both after we've decided on costs." Rasheeda let out a breath of relief mixed with fear. Cameras outside recorded the conversation. One cameraman nodded at the picture and whispered, "Proto, walls." Yandy was worn out from the weight of last night's revelations and was on her way to pick up her kids from school a few blocks away. It showed Kirk's text message. "I'm thinking of you." With her thumb hanging above the keyboard, she gazed at it for a moment. She typed, "I'm sorry," and erased it. After parking, she hurried into the school and gathered her kids in her arms. Their embraces were like a lifeline. "Are you okay, Mommy?" all of them asked at once. She forced a smile. They babbled on about class assignments, and she listened, hugging them close and threatening to cry but holding back, promising in private to be stronger for them. "I'm all right, sweethearts. How did your day go?" When Mendices and Todd arrived at her house to assist their friends, they found Yandy unpacking food. "We heard about Rasheeda," Mendices said. "Yandy has a tight voice." "It is. A great deal." Todd put a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Yandy exhaled, "We're here for anything you need." Mendices shook his head and said, "I feel awful about it. I couldn't protect her. You weren't the cause of this." Joc decided for himself. Yandy closed her eyes. "I'll help Rasheeda get better. That is the only thing that matters." That afternoon, a local radio station prepared a stand-in live feed and JoJo appeared on it. His face was pale and his eyes were sunken. As the presenter asked, "Joc, do you admit to locking Rasheeda in that room?" Joc swallowed. The host continued, wondering if you would face criminal charges. "Yes, I got upset. I was offended, but that's no excuse. I'm embarrassed because she was scared." Joc exhaled. "If it comes to that, I'll accept it. I violated her trust." The host nodded solemnly. "Your admission has shocked the fans." Emotions were running high on social media. Joc closed his eyes. When Rasheeda arrived home, she found a handwritten note from JoJo hidden under her door. It stated, "I'm sorry doesn't cover it, but I'll do anything to prove I'm sorry." Kirk saw her crying as she read the message. "I hope that one day Rasheeda will have the heart to pardon me." Grabbing it, he tore it in two, saying, "You don't require that." Rasheeda gazed at him and shuddered. "What I need is peace." Kirk nodded and helped her get into bed. 2 days later, Kirk and Rasheeda hosted a small family get-together in their living room. Their kids sat cross-legged on the floor. Yandy joined via video call, hunched over her laptop. Jojo appeared as well, standing far away and holding a phone on a bookcase. Rasheeda tried to look at her kids with a smile. "Mommy will be okay. I want you to know how much we cherish you." Their child hugged her knees. "Mother, I was scared." Rasheeda got down on his knees. "I know, my love, but I'm safe now." Kirk touched Yandy's shoulder gently on the TV. Yandy wiped her tears away and said, "I'm sorry for what Jojo did. I love you." Rasheeda inhaled. "This is challenging, but we will get through it together. Through it together." A common acquaintance texted, "Heard about Joc." Later that night, Cole Stokes, a buddy who had once been close to Rasheeda, sat on his balcony with his phone in hand after seeing headlines about the police report. "All right?" The youngsters nodded, with brave little faces. "Are you okay?" "I can't handle this," Cole murmured, staring at the phone. He was rocked by sorrow since he had once fueled Joc's anxieties by questioning Rasheeda's commitment. "I apologize," he wrote in a message to Rasheeda. "I regret what I said." He hesitated for a moment before pressing the submit button. Responses on social media surged. How could Joc have done this? Fans created support threads with messages like "Vote Shatter Joc Scandal," "I support Rasheeda," and "Rasheeda deserves better." They offered both material and emotional help. Others banded together to advocate for Joc's removal from reality television. There were strong emotions. Most individuals believed that trust had been betrayed and that the family had been divided. For a while, Rasheeda retreated to her garden. The night air carried a faint hum of traffic. She shut her eyes and let the memories come flooding back to her. Lengthy conversations, laughing with Joc, and then the betrayal that left her feeling wounded. "I'll survive," she whispered, and tears fell silently. Kira, her daughter, slipped out. "Mom, may I read to you?" Rasheeda tried to smile while wiping her cheeks. "I would love that." Rasheeda, heartbroken but hopeful, leaned against the gate as Kira's cheery voice opened a storybook. Joc, looking pale, fixed his tie in the mirror as he prepared for a meeting with the network's legal staff the next morning. During the meeting, a tough CEO made their proposal. "We may have to stop you from filming until this is resolved. Advertisers are anxious, fans are incensed." As he nodded, Jojo's heart fell. "I get it. I will cooperate." The executive looked at him sharply. "Sorry isn't enough. You need to show that you're committed to making a difference." Joc swallowed. "Yes, I am." The executive passed a contract across the table that contained volunteer work, anger management, and public service. Joc inhaled deeply before signing. At the end of portion 3, Rasheeda was preparing to film a video statement for fans. She took a seat under bright lights against a plain background. "Thank you for supporting me," she remarked. "This has been the hardest period of my life." The camera rolled. She spoke clearly, yet passionately. "But I believe that progress and healing are crucial. I'm taking some time to focus on my children and my recovery. I've decided to leave the show. Please respect that. You are all adored." She paused and gave her wrist a rub. "I need some space right now, but I'll be back stronger." A nearby producer nodded in agreement and turned off the camera. Outside, it was time for school pickup. As Kirk loaded the kids into the car, Rasheeda gazed from the doorway. When they smiled at her, it was still like sunshine on a cold day. "We'll be all right," she whispered to herself as the car pulled away. If this story made your heart racing, please share your thoughts and emotions. Do you think Rasheeda will ever trust Jojo again? Will there ever be happiness for this family again? Please leave your opinions in the space provided for comments below, as every voice matters. If you want to get more updates on this evolving subject, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel. Remember to hit the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any twists. We are able to bring you the latest drama on reality TV because of your participation, so please keep sharing and leaving comments. Let's go on this roller coaster together.